I never thought I'd be the guy to find out my wife, Lisa, was cheating on me. We'd been together for about 8 years, married for 5. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we had a solid life. We had a nice apartment in the city, a good routine, and a shared passion for building things, me as an engineer, her as a marketing exec. Our thing was always about plans and projects. She was ambitious, a bit bitchy, always pushing for more, but I loved her fierce drive. It started subtly. Little things. She'd be late coming home more often than usual, claiming work was crazy, but I noticed she'd be texting more at odd hours, hiding her phone. I'd catch her unlocking her screen quick when I came close, small signs but enough to raise suspicion. Still, I convinced myself I was overthinking it. I mean, women like Lisa don't cheat, right? She was ambitious, yes. But she was also a bit bitchy, always quick to dismiss my ideas or shut me down if I tried to bring up our relationship. Then one night, I came home early from work. Usually she'd be out at her gym or meeting friends. But that night I decided to surprise her. Walked through the door and the first thing I noticed was her phone sitting on the counter, screen lit up with a message. Nothing unusual except it was from some guy named Jake. I saw the word sexy in the message. My stomach clenched. I froze. Spent a good few seconds staring at the screen, trying to process what I was reading. I couldn't believe it. My wife, Lisa, was apparently sexting another man and she didn't think I'd see. I didn't say anything right away. I just stood there trying to breathe. I looked around and saw her laptop open on the kitchen table. I checked her recent messages and sure enough there were more. Flirty texts, explicit messages, things that no wife should be saying to another guy, especially not someone she's supposed to be faithful to. My mind raced. My wife, the woman I trusted, was cheating on me, and I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. I was furious, hurt, and confused all at once. How could she lie so effortlessly? How could she betray me after everything? I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but the evidence was right there, plain as day. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck and the world around me started to spin. I spent the next few minutes just staring at her phone, my hands trembling. My mind kept flashing back to all the little signs I'd ignored, her late nights, the secretive texts, the way she'd brush me off when I pressed her about her evenings. It all came crashing down in that moment. I was furious, but more than anything, I felt betrayed. This wasn't just some fling. It was a full-blown affair with a guy named Jake, someone she'd been messaging behind my back for who knows how long. I decided I needed to confront her. I calmly went into the living room where she was still watching TV, pretending everything was normal. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. "Lisa," I said, my tone low but firm. "I found your messages, the ones with Jake. Care to explain what the hell is going on?" She looked up, her face instantly shifting from casual to defensive. "What are you talking about? You're crazy. I don't know what you're implying." "No, Lisa," I shot back, voice rising slightly. "I saw everything, the sexting, the flirty messages. How long has this been going on? When did you start cheating on me?" She rolled her eyes, crossing her arms. "Oh, please, you're making a big deal out of nothing. It's just some stupid conversation. It doesn't mean anything. You're overreacting as usual." I felt my blood boil. "Nothing. I have proof right here. And I know you've been lying about where you've been. I saw the messages. Don't even try to deny it." Her face twisted with irritation. "Look, I don't owe you an explanation. I was only talking to him because he's building some stupid farm thing, okay? It's for this stupid urban vertical farm project we're supposedly working on. It's just work. And if you must know, he's just a friend, nothing more." That last part hit me like a punch. She was trying to minimize it, make it sound innocent, but I knew better. I knew her. Lisa was the kind of woman who always had a snarky comment ready, a lie to spin her stories. She was bitchy, manipulative when she wanted to be, and she loved to twist the truth to fit her narrative. Her little "it's just work" excuse felt hollow. I felt a storm brewing inside me. I was angry, yes, but also hurt. How could she sit there and lie so blatantly? How could she betray me with someone she met during rooftop meetings for our food security initiative? It wasn't just some fling. She was screwing someone I've known and trusted, an architect who's been working on those insane agricultural stack designs we discussed for months. I'd seen her sneaking off, meeting him late at night, pretending to be working late, all while she was lying in my bed pretending to love me. In that moment, I realized I couldn't trust her anymore. The woman I'd married, the woman I thought I knew, was turning into a stranger. And the worst part, she looked me straight in the eye, still lying, still denying everything. I felt like I was losing my mind. I had to decide what to do next, but one thing was clear. I couldn't stay silent. If I didn't confront her now, I knew I'd be haunted by this forever. After she kept denying everything, I just looked at her, trying to process what I was hearing. It felt like I was trapped inside some nightmare. I took a step back, trying to breathe, trying to keep myself from losing it entirely. I wasn't the type to blow up easily, but this was too much. I'd always considered myself a rational guy, but betrayal like this makes you question everything about who you are and what you believe. I told her to sit down. She looked annoyed, but she sat on the couch, giving me that "you're overreacting" look that only made me angrier. I pulled out my phone and showed her the messages I'd found. I wanted her to see it for herself, to understand that I wasn't making this up. Her reaction was infuriating. She scoffed, rolled her eyes again, and said, "So what? It's just some stupid texts. You're reading too much into it." That was her go-to excuse: blame me, dismiss my feelings, make it seem insignificant. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I'd seen enough to know that this wasn't some innocent work-related thing. It was something more. I asked her why she'd lie to me, why she'd carry on with him when she knew how much I cared. She shrugged and said, "Because you're so paranoid. You're always accusing me of cheating. Maybe you should take a look at yourself first." That was classic Lisa: deflect, blame, gaslight. She was good at it too. I saw right through her bullshit. She was the kind of woman who always thought she was smarter than everyone else, who loved twisting the knife when she felt cornered. I felt my chest tighten, anger mixed with heartbreak. I'd trusted her with everything. I had even dedicated my whole career designing those vertical farms, building this vision of a future where we could grow our own food, be self-sufficient. And she was out there, secretly meeting with her architect, someone I'd seen her meet during rooftop meetings for our joint food security project. It was all connected. She was cheating on me with someone I'd worked closely with, someone who shared her obsession with urban farming, with those crazy agricultural stack designs. I couldn't believe how stupid I'd been. All those signs I'd ignored, all the times she brushed me off or dismissed my concerns. She was hiding this from me. It was like finding out my entire life was built on a lie. That's why I decided I needed to get some space to think, to figure out what I was going to do next. I told her I needed time to myself, that I couldn't stay in this house with her anymore. Her response: she kept calling me insecure, saying I was overreacting. That only made me more furious. I knew I couldn't trust her anymore, and I knew I had to make a choice, but it hurt like hell. I kept wondering if I'd ever be able to look at her the same way again. The woman I'd loved, the woman I'd married, was now just a stranger who had lied to my face about everything. I never thought I'd be in this situation, so betrayed, so humiliated. But I also knew I couldn't let this destroy me completely. I had to decide whether to fight for this marriage or walk away for good. The question was burning inside me, and I knew I had to face whatever came next. The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. After the confrontation, I packed a bag and stayed at a friend's place for a few nights. Not because I wanted to run away from her, but because I needed space to breathe, to get a handle on what I was feeling. Every time I tried to think straight, her face would pop into my mind. Her bitchy smirk, her dismissive attitude, the way she lied effortlessly. It was like a punch to the gut every single time. I kept replaying everything she said, every excuse, every lie. I kept asking myself, did I really know her at all? Or was I just a fool who thought he'd married the woman of his dreams? I felt crushed, like my whole world was collapsing. All I wanted was to understand why she'd do this to me. Was I not enough? Did I fail somehow? Or was she just a selfish bitch who enjoyed betraying me? While I was trying to process all of this, I also started to piece together what I knew about her affair with Jake, the architect. I remembered those rooftop meetings, the late-night texts, the secretive glances she'd throw my way when she'd thought I wasn't paying attention. I'd always been proud of the work we were doing, those agricultural stack designs we developed during our food security initiative. I thought it was our shared passion. Turns out she'd been using those meetings as cover for her affair. It was so typical. She always loved hiding things behind a mask, lying through her teeth, pretending she was doing something important when she was just sneaking around. And Jake, I knew what kind of guy he was. A smart, ambitious architect, obsessed with urban farms and vertical stacking. We'd even talked about the projects in passing. I'd always admired his work, but now I saw how close it all was to betrayal. She'd been meeting him during those rooftop sessions, probably discussing plans or maybe just sneaking in some sex. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but the pattern was clear. She lied about her late nights, about her excuses for being busy with work. All fake, all part of her cover-up. Honestly, the emotional impact hit me hard. I'd always considered myself a strong, rational guy, but that kind of betrayal cuts deep. I felt angry, helpless, and incredibly sad all at once. There was this sickening sense of loss, not just of her, but of the life I thought we had. All those years, all the plans for our future now seemed like they were built on lies. I kept telling myself I deserved better. I deserved honesty and respect. The question was, how do I move forward from this? Do I fight for her, try to make sense of her lies? Or do I walk away, cut my losses, and start over? For days, I vacillated between rage and despair. I'd look at my phone, tempted to text her to demand the truth. But I knew she'd just lie again, spin her bullshit, and I didn't want to be anywhere near her when she did. One thing was for sure, my trust was completely shattered. I felt like I'd been duped, like I'd been blind to who she really was. The woman I'd married, the woman I'd loved, was now just a stranger who had lied and cheated behind my back. And that realization made me feel more alone than I ever had before. I kept thinking about the future, about what I should do next. I knew I couldn't stay in this limbo forever, but I also didn't want to make any rash decisions. I needed clarity, time, distance, because right now all I felt was heartbreak and betrayal mixed with this gnawing desire for justice and, honestly, revenge. After a week of staying away from her, I decided I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay or that I could just sweep it under the rug. I had to confront her again, this time not just about the affair but about what it meant for us. I reached out to her, told her I was coming back home to talk, no more excuses, no more lies. I needed answers and I needed to lay everything out on the table. When I walked into the apartment, she was sitting on the couch, acting annoyed already. She looked like she had been crying but was trying to hide it. Classic Lisa, nothing genuine, just more fake emotion. I didn't care about her tears. All I cared about was getting her to admit the truth. I sat down across from her, eyeing her like a predator. "I want to hear it," I said flatly. "Tell me everything. How long has this been going on? How many times have you lied to me?" She rolled her eyes and scoffed again like she was tired of my questions. "You're acting like I'm some kind of monster. It was just sex, okay? It didn't mean anything. Jake is just some guy I met through work. We were just talking about our stupid farm designs, then it happened. It was a stupid mistake and I was going to tell you, but you're always accusing me of cheating and I didn't want to deal with your drama." I felt my fists clench. "You're lying. You've been sneaking around for months. I found your messages. You've been sexting him, meeting him late at night during rooftop meetings for our food security project. Don't tell me it's just stupid sex. You cheated on me with someone I trusted. You, the woman I loved, turned into a liar and a cheat." She looked annoyed, confrontational. "Look, I don't need to explain myself to you. You're so insecure, always accusing me of stuff I haven't done. Maybe you're the one with problems. I deserve better than this, someone who trusts me instead of spying on my phone." That was it. My patience snapped. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "I trusted you. I loved you. But you've been screwing around with Jake, hiding it from me while we were supposed to be building this project. I knew you were hiding something, but I didn't want to believe it. Now I see the truth. You've been lying about everything, pretending to care about us while you were screwing some architect during rooftop meetings. How could you?" Her face turned red, and for a moment I thought she'd blow up or start yelling. Instead, she just shrugged, trying to look indifferent. "Whatever. You're just jealous. You're insecure. This doesn't change anything. We're still fine." That's when I realized I'd hit my limit. I felt a deep, piercing ache in my chest like I'd been stabbed. I'd loved her, but she'd thrown it all away for some stupid fling. I knew then I couldn't stay with her. Not anymore. I told her I was done, that I needed to get out for a while and figure out what I really wanted. She said I was overreacting, that I was being dramatic, but I didn't care anymore. I knew I'd never forget this betrayal. My trust was shattered, and I didn't see how we could ever rebuild from this. Not after she lied so effortlessly, so coldly, while I was left to pick up the pieces. That night I packed my things and left. I didn't want to be in the same space anymore. I didn't want to look her in the eyes and see the woman who had lied so completely. As I drove away, I felt a strange mix of relief and despair. The betrayal cut so deep, I wasn't sure I'd ever recover. But I also knew one thing: I'd never let someone do this to me again. From now on, I was going to take control, rebuild my life, and learn to trust myself again, even if that meant starting over alone. In the days that followed, I threw myself into cleaning out the apartment, packing up the remnants of our life together. Every corner reminded me of her perfume still lingering on the pillow, her favorite coffee mug still sitting on the counter. It was like dismantling a life I'd built around her, piece by piece. I couldn't believe how much trust I'd given her, only to have it shattered so effortlessly. It made me question everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. I stayed with a friend for a while, just trying to breathe, to make sense of what had happened. The anger ebbed and flowed. Sometimes I was furious, other times just numb. I kept replaying her lies, her smug attitude when she dismissed my concerns. Honestly, the betrayal revealed her true nature to me in a way I never expected. She was manipulative, selfish, and uninterested in anything but herself. The woman I'd married was just a mask she wore to hide her real self. Over time, I started to see things more clearly. I realized that her affair with Jake wasn't just about sex or some stupid project. It was about her craving control, excitement, and validation, things she'd never gotten from me. She always loved being the smarter, bitchier one in the room, and I think that's what really drove her to cheat. She wanted to feel powerful, to prove she could get away with it, even if it meant destroying what we had. I won't lie, it hurt like hell. The trust I had in her is gone, replaced by a bitter sense of betrayal that I doubt will ever fully fade. But a part of me also feels relief. Relief that I finally know who she really is. No more pretending, no more lying. I've come to accept that some people aren't meant to be in your life forever, no matter how much you love them or how much history you share. Now, I'm focusing on rebuilding myself. I've started therapy, trying to understand my feelings and learn how to trust again, myself mostly. I've taken up new hobbies, reconnected with friends, and started thinking seriously about what I want out of life. The whole experience has been humbling and painful, but it's also made me more aware of my boundaries. If someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Looking back, I wish I'd seen the signs earlier, but I also realized that I was blinded by love. That's the lesson I want anyone reading this to take away. Trust is fragile, and sometimes the people closest to us can hurt us the most. When you see red flags, don't ignore them just because you don't want to face the truth. Because eventually, the truth catches up, sometimes in the ugliest way possible. I've learned that revenge isn't always about hurting someone back. It's about reclaiming your power, about standing up for yourself after you've been knocked down. I may never fully forget what she did, but I'm determined to move past it, to find happiness again, even if it's not with her. And to anyone out there going through something similar, just remember, you deserve honesty, respect, and loyalty. Never settle for less. Because in the end, the most important relationship you have is with yourself.